There are wounds that don't heal with time. There is pain that remains even when you do everything right. And perhaps you've realized something few understand. Not all pain needs to go away to stop hurting. This isn't resignation. It's wisdom. It's spiritual maturity. It's the moment you discover that I never promised an absence of struggle, but absolute presence within it. You are here because something in your heart recognized this truth even before your mind accepted it. And I tell you, it's no coincidence that these words reached you today. You've been carrying something heavy, something no one sees, something you've tried to surrender 1,000 times, yet it still returns to your shoulders every morning. But there's a difference between carrying it with desperation and carrying it with purpose, between suffering senselessly and being transformed through suffering. And that's exactly what I've come to reveal to you now. Let me ask you a question that will resonate in your soul. What if the pain you so desperately want to eliminate is exactly what I'm using to prepare you for something greater than you can imagine? What if your resistance wasn't delaying your healing, but strengthening your ability to sustain the blessing that lies ahead? Have you ever stopped to consider that perhaps I'm not ignoring your tears, but using each one to water the ground where your victory will blossom? These aren't rhetorical questions. They're invitations for you to look at your story from a completely new angle, an eternal angle, an angle of mine. I watched you bend your knees, asking for relief. I heard every silent plea on the nights you pretended to be okay. I counted every tear you hid in your pillow, and in every moment of those I was present, not as a distant spectator, but as a father who holds your face and whispers, "Hold on a little longer because you are being shaped for something glorious." Remember Job? He lost everything: health, family, wealth, dignity. And yet, in the midst of unbearable pain, he said something revolutionary. "Even if he kills me, I will still trust." That wasn't naivety. It was revelation. Job understood that God's presence is worth more than the absence of problems. And you are about to understand that too. In this video, I'll take you through 8 profound revelations that will completely change the way you view suffering. First, I'll show you the invisible weight you've been carrying alone, and why it was never yours to carry alone. Then, I'll reveal how pain becomes your teacher when you stop fighting it and start learning from it. I'll prove to you through your scars that you are a survivor, not a victim. I'll unveil what I'm secretly creating through your struggle. I'll expose the strength hidden in your weakness. I'll explain why some battles last longer, and what this means prophetically. I'll deliver the gift the pain was bringing you but couldn't see. And finally, I'll teach you how to live fully, even when the pain is still present. Each revelation is a key. Each key opens a door. And on the other side of these doors is the version of you I've always seen, even when you doubted. Before we continue, I need you to do something important right now. If this message has touched something deep within you, if you felt these words were written especially for your moment, subscribe to this channel now, not just as a mechanical click, but as an act of faith, as a declaration that you want to continue hearing my voice every day. And after subscribing, go to the comments and write with all your heart, "Lord, I am here. I subscribed because I love you and want to hear you." And also tell me from which city and country you are watching this message right now. I want to know where my word is reaching hungry hearts. I want to see the geography of faith expanding. And there's more. Stay until the end of this message, because at the right moment I will whisper a specific word to you, a word that carries the power to transform. And when you write this word in the comments, you will be releasing a stream of blessings into your life that goes far beyond what your eyes can see now. Don't leave prematurely. Your stay here is no coincidence. It's obedience. It's spiritual positioning. It's you saying yes to what I have prepared especially for this moment in your journey. Take a deep breath, calm your heart, and let my voice penetrate where no other voice has been able to reach. The weight you've been carrying alone. You woke up today with that familiar weight. It's not physical, but it's real. So real that sometimes you feel your body bend under something no one else can see. It's the weight of accumulated disappointment, of unprocessed grief, of frustrated expectations, of prayers that seem unanswered, of relationships that haven't been restored, of illnesses that insist on lingering, of dreams that died halfway through. And the worst part isn't carrying the weight. The worst part is carrying it alone. It's waking up and putting on the mask that everything is fine. It's saying everything is fine when someone asks how you are, while inside your heart cries out for help. It's sitting at the table, feigning appetite, when your soul is starving for hope. It's going to bed exhausted not from the day but from the performance of appearing whole when you feel shattered. I know exactly how many invisible pounds you carry. I know because I'm carrying it right along with you. I always have been. Do you remember when I said, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened"? It wasn't pretty rhetoric, it was a literal invitation. It was me saying, this weight was never meant for you to bear alone. But you persisted. You tried to be strong. You tried to resolve it. You tried to prove you could. And look where it's brought you. Spiritual exhaustion, emotional dryness, soul fatigue. You're tired of being tired. And today I've come to tell you, you can stop trying to be God of your own life. I already am, and I'm much better at it than you ever could be. When Peter began to sink in the water, do you know what he did? He cried out. Just one word, Lord. And I immediately reached out my hand. I didn't wait for him to swim to me. I didn't demand he prove his worthiness. I didn't ask why he doubted. I simply held on. And that's what I'm doing with you now, holding on. Even if you don't feel it, even if it seems like you're alone in the storm, I never let go. The weight you feel isn't my abandonment. It's the resistance of you trying to control what you should have surrendered long ago. Let go, now. Take a deep breath and say out loud, Lord, I can't take this alone anymore. I receive your help. I accept your easy yoke. I allow you to carry what I can't. There's a deep spiritual reason why some weights don't lift easily. It's not because I'm insensitive. It's because I'm training you to a level of trust you've never had before. Trust isn't the absence of weight. Trust is knowing who carries it with you. It's the difference between despair and peace in the midst of the same circumstance. And when you learn this, when you truly internalize that you're not alone, something supernatural happens. The weight doesn't necessarily disappear, but the way you carry it changes completely. Your shoulders relax, your breathing deepens, your sleep returns, your joy returns, not because the problem is gone, but because you've stopped fighting it alone. If this word resonated with you, if you recognized your own weariness in these lines, give me a thumbs up now. Not as an automatic gesture, but as an act of spiritual agreement. Like you saying, yes, Lord, I was carrying it alone, and now I choose to trust. And answer me honestly in the comments, what is the invisible burden you most desire to surrender to me today? It could be a word, a phrase, a confession. I will read it, I will listen, and I will act. And if this message brought relief to your soul, share it with someone you know is also burdened. Sometimes a person just needs to know they're not alone to breathe again. When pain becomes your teacher, there is a kind of knowledge that doesn't come from books, it doesn't come from sermons, it doesn't come from well-intentioned advice, it comes from pain. And that is the deepest, truest, most transformative knowledge there is. You can study faith your entire life, but you only truly learn faith when you're in the valley of the shadow of death and still choose to trust. You can hear about patience in 1,000 messages, but you only develop genuine patience when your prayer takes years to be answered and you keep praying. You can understand compassion intellectually, but you only become truly compassionate when you yourself have been broken and know exactly how it hurts. Pain is not your enemy. It never was. Pain is the classroom where I teach the lessons that will prepare you for everything that lies ahead. Think of Joseph, sold by his own brothers, unjustly enslaved, slandered by Potiphar's wife, forgotten in prison for years. Each step of that painful journey was a lesson. Humility in slavery, integrity in temptation, perseverance in injustice, hope in prison. And when he finally reached the palace, he was no longer the dreamy, immature boy. He was a man forged by fire, prepared to rule a nation and save millions from starvation. If I had prematurely removed the pain, I would have aborted the purpose. Joseph would not have learned what he needed to learn. He would not have developed the character necessary to sustain the position I prepared for him. And the same is happening to you now. Every moment of solitude is teaching you self-sufficiency in me. Every rejection is freeing you from the need for human approval. Every failure is showing you that your worth isn't dependent on performance. Every betrayal is revealing to you who truly deserves your inner circle. Every illness is reminding you that your body is temporary, but your soul is eternal. Every financial loss is detaching you from material idols and making you dependent on my provision. Every sleepless night is creating space for deep conversations with me that you would never have in the rush of the day. Pain isn't destroying you. It's distilling you. It's removing everything superficial, false, and unnecessary. It's revealing who you truly are when all the masks fall away. David wrote in Psalm 23, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death." See? He didn't say, "if I walk." He said, "as a certainty, as an inevitability. And yet I will fear no evil, for you are with me." David had the authority to write this because he actually walked through valleys. He faced lions, bears, giants, armies, betrayal by his king, rebellion by his son, and in every valley I was there, teaching, shaping, preparing. When he finally became king, he was no longer the shepherd boy. He was a wise warrior who knew how to lead because he learned to follow. A profound worshipper who knew how to praise in the darkness because he knew darkness. A compassionate king who knew how to forgive because he needed forgiveness. So today I ask you, what is the pain trying to teach you that you're resisting? What lesson are you running away from because it hurts too much to face? Was the relationship that ended teaching you not to seek in humans what only I can give? Was the door that closed protecting you from a path that would destroy you? Is the delay in responding training you to wisely manage the abundant blessing that is coming? Stop fighting school. Sit down at your desk. Open your notebook. Pay attention, because this class will promote you to a level of life you can't even imagine yet. And when you finally pass this test, you will look back and be grateful for every tear you shed, because it was the price of your education. If you're starting to see your pain differently, watch this video now and tell me in the comments what's the greatest lesson pain has taught you. Write honestly. Your story might be exactly what someone needs to read today to help them stay focused. And don't forget to share this message. Do you know someone who's in the middle of class and thinking about giving up? Be my instrument to remind them that it's worth keeping going. The scar that proves you survived. Scars are not shame. They are trophies. Every mark on your heart, every wound that healed but left a mark, every painful memory you carry is living proof that you were not destroyed. You were tested and approved. You went through the fire and came out the other side, perhaps burned, perhaps scarred, but alive. And being alive after what you faced is already a miracle. You underestimate your own strength. You look at your scars with shame when you should look at them with honor, because each one tells a story of a battle won, of a night survived, of a destructive thought rejected, of temptation resisted, of surrender refused. You are a warrior, and warriors bear scars. When I was resurrected, do you know what I kept on my body? The nail marks, the wounds in my hands and side. I could have returned perfect without any sign of what I went through, but I chose to keep the scars. Why? Because they are part of the story of redemption. They are the physical proof of the price I paid. They are the eternal testimony of my love for you. And when Thomas doubted, I didn't argue. I simply said, "Put your finger here, see my hands, put your hand in my side." The scars were enough to transform doubt into worship, and your scars have that power too. The power to transform, the power to witness, the power to inspire. Think of all the times you almost gave up but didn't. Remember that early morning when the pain was so great you thought you wouldn't see the dawn, but the sun rose and you were still standing. Remember that moment when loneliness screamed so loudly that you almost made irreversible decisions, but something held you back and you chose to live. Remember when the diagnosis came and it felt like a death sentence, but you fought, treated, prayed, and today you're here, breathing, bearing witness. Each of these memories is a scar, and each scar is a medallion of survival. You are not defined by what hurt you. You are defined by the fact that you're still here after everything that hurt you. There is power in your testimony. There is anointing in your story. There is liberation for others in your scars. Because when you share what you've been through, when you speak openly about the valley you've walked through, you're giving hope to those still in the midst of it. You're saying without words, "If I survived, you can too. If God sustained me, He will sustain you." If I came out of this alive, you will too. And that's why the enemy wants you to be ashamed of your scars. Because he knows your scars have evangelistic power. They have testimonial power. They have the power to lift up the fallen and strengthen the weak. When you hide your scars, you rob others of the hope they need to carry on. Paul had a thorn in his flesh, something painful that he begged me 3 times to remove. And my answer wasn't healing, it was revelation. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Paul understood something revolutionary. His limitations weren't obstacles to my power, they were channels for my power. And he said something most people can't say. Most gladly, therefore, I will rather boast about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest upon me. He turned shame into glory. He hid a scar into a trophy. And you can do the same. You can stop hiding. You can stop pretending you've never been broken. You can lift your scarred hands and say, "This is proof that God is faithful because I shouldn't be alive, but I am." Give me a thumbs up if you're starting to look at your scars with gratitude instead of shame, and write in the comments, "I survived." You don't have to give details if you don't want to. This statement alone is powerful. It's prophetic. It releases something in the spiritual world. And if you know someone who's feeling destroyed by the scars they bear, share this video. Be the messenger of the truth that scars aren't the end of the story. They're proof of victory. What I'm transforming through your struggle. You see the suffering, I see the sculpture. You feel the pressure, I see the diamond being formed. You experience the shattering. I see the vessel being shaped to contain glory. There is a chasm between your perspective and mine. You look to the now. I look to the eternal. You see what you are losing. I see what you are gaining. You feel the discomfort of transformation. I see the beauty of the end result. And today I want to open your spiritual eyes so that you can see at least a glimpse of what I am creating through all that you have been through. Because when you understand the purpose, you endure the process. When you see the design, you accept the price. Jeremiah was taken to the potter's house, and there he saw something profound. The potter was shaping a vessel, but it was ruined in his hand. And what did the potter do? Destroy it? Discard it? No. He remade it into another vessel as seemed good to him. That clay that seemed ruined was being reshaped into something new. And I said through Jeremiah, "Cannot I do with you as this potter has done? Behold, as the clay in the potter's hand, so are you in my hand. You are the clay. I am the potter. And everything that seems to be crumbling in your life is not destruction. It is reconstruction. I am remaking you, reshaping you, preparing you for a purpose greater than you ever imagined. The pressure you feel isn't meant to crush you. It's meant to transform you. Diamonds are formed under extreme pressure. Without pressure, they remain ordinary carbon. With pressure, they become rare and valuable gemstones. Gold is purified in fire. The hotter the fire, the purer the gold. The more impurities removed, the more value it adds. You are in the fire now. Not because I hate you, but because I value you so much that I will not allow impurities to contaminate your destiny. I am burning away the pride that would make you fall when the blessing comes. I am removing the insecurity that would make you sabotage opportunity. I am uprooting the bitterness that would cause you to lose divine relationships. I am consuming the fear that would paralyze you when you move forward. Through your solitude, I am creating a deep intimacy with me that multitudes never develop. Through your financial lack, I am teaching you to manage abundance with wisdom and generosity, not with greed and waste. Through your illness, I am filling you with compassion for the sick you will minister to in the future. Through your rejection, I am freeing you from the need to please people and teaching you to seek only my approval. Through your public failure, I am killing your ego so that when success comes, you will not be destroyed by pride. Every bad thing that happens has a redemptive purpose that will reveal itself in due time. And when you look back, you will understand everything. You will connect the dots. You will see my hand in every detail. Joseph said something profound to his brothers who sold him. You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good. Do you see the revelation? What was meant to destroy was used to promote. What was meant to kill was used to save lives. The enemy's plan was hijacked by my plan. And the same is happening in your life now. That betrayal that devastated you, I'm already using it to position you for much healthier and truer relationships. That humiliating dismissal, I'm already preparing a promotion that will surprise you. That illness that took you out of your busy schedule, I'm already using it to realign your priorities and save you from fatal burnout. That loss that shattered you, I'm already transforming it into a gateway to gains you never imagined possible. Trust the process. Trust the potter. Trust me. Enjoy this video. If your heart is beginning to understand that there's purpose in what seemed meaningless, and answer in the comments, what do you believe God is transforming through your current struggle? Right? Even if it's just a hunch, a hope, an intuition. Sometimes declaring what we don't yet see is what releases manifestation. And share this word with someone who has given up believing that God can transform mess into beauty. Be a bearer of hope today. The strength hidden in your weakness. You have called weakness what I call the gateway to my power. You have been ashamed of what should be your greatest reason for trust in me, because it is precisely where you are weak that I am strong. It is where you cannot do it that I succeed. It is where you fail that I triumph. Culture has taught you that weakness is failure. I teach you that weakness acknowledged and surrendered is positioning for a miracle. It is not your strength that impresses me. It is your surrender. It is not your ability that releases my power. It is your admitted inability. When you finally stop trying to be self-sufficient and say, "Lord, I can't do it," you activate my supernatural help. Gideon saw himself as the least of his father's household, which was already the poorest in Manasseh. In other words, he saw himself as nothing. Without resources, without influence, without strength. And that was precisely why I chose him to deliver Israel. Not despite his weakness, but because of it. Because when he won with only 300 men against thousands, no one could give glory to human strategy. All glory was mine. And that is my standard. I choose the weak to shame the strong. I choose the foolish to confound the wise. I choose what is not to reduce to nothing what is. Why? So that no one may boast before me, so that it is clear that it is not human power, but divine intervention. Your anxiety that makes you cry out incessantly? Is it keeping you in constant prayer, creating daily dependence on me? Your shyness that paralyzes you in public? Is it forcing you to trust that I will speak through you when necessary? Your impatience that frustrates you? Is it teaching you to wait on my timing, which is always better than yours? Your temper that shames you? Is it breaking you so that I can use you with true gentleness, not feigned passivity? Your financial hardship that humbles you? Is it detaching you from false gods and teaching you that your provision comes from me, not from your own efforts? Your every weakness is sacred ground where my strength can undeniably manifest. Paul understood this profoundly. After begging 3 times for the thorn to be removed, he had a revelation that changed everything. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. It perfects. It is not manifested despite weakness. It is perfected in weakness. It reaches its peak in weakness. And Paul, instead of continuing to complain, did something radical. He said, "Most gladly I will rather boast about my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Therefore I take pleasure in weaknesses, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in distresses for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong." He completely reversed the paradigm. He transformed shame into glory, weakness into spiritual strategy. So stop hiding your limitations. Stop pretending you can do it alone. Stop trying to appear strong when you're broken, because it's in brokenness that I enter. It's in surrender that I act. It's at the end of you that I begin. When you throw up your hands and say, "I can't do it anymore," I respond, "I always could." When you admit I don't know what to do, I reveal my path. When you confess I'm empty, I fill you. Your weakness doesn't disqualify you. It qualifies you. Because I don't look for those who can. I look for those who are willing to let me do it through them. And you, with all your flaws, limitations, fears, and insecurities, are exactly the kind of vessel I love to use to shock the world. If this revelation is changing the way you see your own weaknesses, give it a thumbs up now. And be vulnerable in the comments. Write, "Lord, my weakness is," and complete. Don't be afraid. Sometimes admitting it out loud is the first step to experiencing my power in a new way. and share this message with someone who feels disqualified because of their own limitations. Be the instrument I use to remind them that weakness surrendered is strength released. Why some battles last longer than others. Have you ever wondered why some people receive quick answers, yet your prayers are still on hold? Why some are healed instantly, yet you continue to struggle with the same illness years later? Why some prosper quickly, yet their financial progress seems so slow and painful? Why some doors open easily for others, yet yours remain locked no matter how many times you knock? These questions haunt you. They make you doubt whether I love you as much as I love others. They make you wonder if you've done something wrong that's delaying your answer. And today I want to give you clarity on this, because there are deep spiritual reasons why some battles take longer. First, the length of the wait is connected to the size of the blessing. Abraham waited 25 years for the promise of a son. 25 years, a quarter of a century. Enough time to doubt, to lose heart, to give up. But when Isaac was finally born, he wasn't just a baby. He was the beginning of a nation. He was the seed of all the families of the earth being blessed. The delay wasn't a delay, it was preparation for something gigantic. If Isaac had come in the first year, Abraham wouldn't have developed the faith necessary to sacrifice him on Mount Moriah when I tested his heart. The wait transformed his faith from a concept into unshakable conviction, and the same is happening to you. The delay in your response isn't proportional to my slowness. It's proportional to the greatness of what I'm preparing for you. The longer the wait, the greater the promise. The longer the battle, the more strategic the victory that comes. Second, some battles take time because you are being prepared to be a witness, not just a beneficiary. The woman with the issue of blood suffered for 12 years. 12 years spending everything on doctors who couldn't cure her. 12 years of social shame, religious isolation, and progressive hopelessness. Why so long? Because when she finally touched the hem of my garment and was instantly healed, her story didn't just impact her, it impacted multitudes. Even today, thousands of years later, her story continues to give hope to those who have lost hope. If she had been healed in the first month, there would be no story. There would be no powerful testimony. There would be no legacy. Her long battle is being documented in the spiritual world to become a reference of faithfulness for future generations. You are not just living your story, you are writing a survival manual for those who come after. Third, the length of the battle tests the authenticity of your search. Many seek me for the blessing, not for me. They want my hand, not my face. They want the miracle, not the relationship. And when the answer is delayed, the self-seekers give up. Only true worshippers remain. Job lost everything in one day: children, wealth, health, dignity. And in the midst of extreme suffering, his wife said, "Curse God and die." But Job's answer reveals a genuine heart. The Lord gave, the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Though he slay me, I will trust in him. That wasn't religious obligation, it was true love. It was tested and approved faith. And in the end, I restored everything double. Not because he deserved it through suffering, but because he proved he loved me regardless of reward. His long wait is separating genuine interest from religious transaction. And when you pass this test, the restoration will be overwhelming. Fourth, some long battles are protecting you from a premature blessing that would destroy you. Saul was anointed king, but he wasn't internally prepared. When the pressure came, he crumbled. He offered illegal sacrifices, disobeyed direct orders, and consulted mediums. The crown that should have been a glory became a curse because it arrived before his character was formed. David was also anointed king, but between his anointing and coronation came years of flight, persecution, caves, and exile. It seemed like delay. It was training. When he finally assumed the throne, he was a molded man, not an immature boy. He ruled wisely, because the delay produced maturity. Perhaps I'm holding back your promotion, not because you don't deserve it, but because I love you too much to give you something you don't yet have the emotional, spiritual, and psychological structure to handle without self-destruction. Waiting isn't rejection. It's protection. It's patient love preparing you to bear the weight of the glory to come. So take a deep breath and understand, your long battle doesn't mean I've forgotten you. It means I trust you. I trust you will endure the process. I trust you won't give up halfway. I trust your faith is real enough to endure the trial, and when your time comes, and it will, the testimony will be so powerful, the blessing will be so great, the transformation will be so evident that no one will be able to deny it was my hand at work. It's worth the wait. It's worth enduring. It's worth staying. Because the end will be far better than any shortcut you wished for along the way. If you're in a long battle, and these words brought new understanding, watch this video now. And tell me in the comments, how long have you been in your battle? Not for me to know, I already know, but for you to declare and release something spiritually, and share it with someone who's tired of waiting. Be an instrument of encouragement for those who are about to give up the day before the miracle. The gift you didn't know pain was bringing. Pain doesn't come alone. It always brings something in its hands. You only see the pain, but I see the wrapped gift it carries. You feel the cut, but I see the life-saving surgery. You experience the loss, but I see the space being opened for greater gains. There is a spiritual dimension to suffering that escapes immediate human perception. It is only revealed with time, maturity, and hindsight. And today I want to show you the gifts your pain is bringing, even if you haven't yet been able to open the packaging to see them. Because when you understand that there is no empty suffering in my economy, you begin to cooperate with the process instead of simply resisting it. First gift, deep and genuine empathy. You would never have this capacity to feel the pain of others if you hadn't experienced your own. Before the pain, you were quick to judge, quick to offer superficial advice, quick to say, just have faith, as if it were that simple. But after you walked through the valley yourself, after your own prayers seemed unanswered, after you tasted loneliness and abandonment, something changed. You became kinder, more patient, more understanding. When someone cries in front of you now, you don't minimize, you validate, you sit beside them, you cry with them, and this kind of compassion isn't learned in the process, it's learned in brokenness. Your pain has qualified you to comfort others with the comfort you yourself have received from me. And this ministry is worth every tear you've shed. Second gift, radical authenticity. Pain kills pretense. When you're truly suffering, you don't have the energy to maintain masks. Defenses fall, vulnerability emerges, and paradoxically, that's when you become more real, more human, more accessible. Before the pain, you might have projected an image of perfection. Now you know you're broken, and you have no problem admitting it. And do you know what happens? People connect with you on a much deeper level. Because no one identifies with perfection. Everyone identifies with struggle. Your transparency about your pain is giving others permission to be transparent too. It's creating safe spaces where people can take off their masks and be themselves. Your pain-forced authenticity is freeing others from the prison of religious performance. Third gift, realigned priorities. Pain has the power to show you what truly matters. When you're facing a serious illness, arguments over trivial matters lose their meaning. When you're experiencing deep grief, accumulating material possessions loses its luster. When you're in the midst of an existential crisis, people's approval becomes irrelevant. Pain has a brutal but effective way of reorganizing your list of values. It removes things that should never have been there from the top. It puts things you'd neglected back on top. Relationships become a priority again. Time with family becomes precious. Simple moments gain meaning. Eternal purpose trumps temporal ambition. Your pain is saving you from wasting your life on things that won't matter in eternity. Fourth gift, mature and tested faith. Untested faith is theory. Tested faith is certainty. Anyone can believe when everything is going well. When the bank account is full, when health is perfect, when relationships are harmonious. This is not faith, it's logic. True faith is when everything falls apart and you still say, even so I trust. It's when circumstances scream that God has abandoned you and you whisper, He is with me. It's when your senses tell you it's over and your spirit declares, it's not the end yet. Your pain is forging this kind of faith. Faith that doesn't depend on feelings. It doesn't depend on visible evidence. It doesn't depend on quick response. It depends only on knowing my character. And when you emerge from this furnace, your faith will be pure gold. It will be unbreakable. It will be able to move mountains that once seemed impossible. Fifth gift, preparation for a greater purpose. Moses spent 40 years in the desert before freeing Israel. Joseph spent years in prison before ruling Egypt. Paul spent 3 years in Arabia after his conversion before beginning his public ministry. Jesus spent 30 years in anonymity before 3 years of ministry. There's a pattern here. Great purposes require great preparation, and preparation often involves pain, loneliness, waiting, brokenness. Everything you're going through now is equipping you for something specific you'll still do, someone you'll still help, someplace you'll still be sent, some word you'll still speak, some book you'll still write, some business you'll still build, some generation you'll still impact. Your pain isn't wasted. It's an investment in your ministerial future. Give me a thumbs up if you're beginning to see the gifts hidden in your pain. And declare in the comments, I receive the gifts that pain is bringing. This statement releases something powerful spiritually, and share it with someone who can only see the negative side of suffering. Help them see with spiritual eyes. How to live fully even with the ache. And now we come to the most important point of this entire message. How can we live fully when the pain doesn't go away? How can we experience true joy when grief is still present? How can we thrive when limitations persist? How can we love when the wound still hurts? How can we worship when the answer hasn't yet come? Because this is the secret that few discover. Abundant life is not the absence of pain. It is my presence in the midst of pain. It's not waiting for the storm to pass to dance. It's learning to dance in the rain. It's not waiting for perfect circumstances to be happy. It's finding happiness that transcends circumstances. Paul and Silas were imprisoned. Their backs were bleeding from brutal beatings. Their feet were shackled to the stocks. Midnight in a dark, cold, stinking cell, unbearable physical pain, blatant injustice, an uncertain future. And what did they do? They prayed and sang hymns. In the midst of pain, they chose worship. In the midst of injustice, they chose praise. In the midst of imprisonment, they chose spiritual freedom. And what happened? A supernatural earthquake. Chains were broken. Doors were opened. A jailer was converted. An entire family was saved. All because 2 men refused to allow painful circumstances to determine their spiritual position. They proved that you can be imprisoned and still be free. You can be hurt and still worship. You can be suffering and still have inexplicable joy. The key is to understand that joy is not happiness. Happiness depends on external events. Joy is a fruit of the Spirit, independent of circumstances. You can be sad and still have joy. You can be crying and still have peace. You can be struggling and still have hope. Because these things don't come from what's happening around you. They come from the one who dwells within you. My presence doesn't automatically remove problems, but it makes problems bearable. My peace doesn't eliminate storms, but it keeps you steady in the midst of them. My joy doesn't negate pain, but it coexists with pain in a mysterious and supernatural way. And this is much more powerful than the absence of pain, because it proves that your emotional stability doesn't depend on perfect circumstances. It depends on your relationship with me. So how do you practice this? First, stop waiting for the pain to go away to start living. Live now, even with grief, even with illness, even with loss, even with loneliness. Don't put your life on hold waiting for ideal circumstances. They may never come, and you'll waste precious years waiting for a perfect day that doesn't exist. Love with a broken heart, serve with a limited body, give with an empty wallet, smile with eyes full of tears. Because life is not the absence of pain. Life is the choice to not let pain have the last word. Second, cultivate militant gratitude. Gratitude that doesn't wait for obvious reasons. Gratitude that finds reasons even when everything seems bad. Are you breathing? Be thankful. Do you have food today? Be thankful. Do you have a roof over your head? Be thankful. Are you alive after all? Be thankful. Gratitude changes brain chemistry. It changes perspective. It changes spiritual reality. David said, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise will continually be in my mouth at all times, not just in good times, at all times. Third, invest in true community. Isolated pain multiplies. Shared pain divides. You were not created to carry it alone. Seek out safe people. People who won't minimize your pain or judge you for it. People who will cry with you when you need to cry and laugh with you when you can laugh. Ecclesiastes says, "Two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. For if one falls, the other will lift him up." Stop pretending to have strength you don't have. Admit vulnerability. Ask for help. Let others carry you when you can't walk alone. This isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Fourth, maintain a consistent spiritual routine. Don't let pain keep you away from me. It's precisely when you need me most that the enemy will try to convince you to walk away. Pray even when you don't feel like it. Read my word even when it seems dry. Congregate even when you'd rather be isolated. Worship even when tears flow. Because spiritual discipline doesn't depend on feelings, it depends on decision. And it's in the consistency of the desert that deep roots are formed. Fifth, redefine success. Success is not the absence of problems. Success is remaining faithful in the midst of problems. It's not never falling. It's getting up every time you fall. It's not feeling pain. It's not letting pain define you. You are already victorious just by being here today, still standing, still breathing, still trying, after everything you've faced. That's already a monumental victory. Celebrate that, honor that, acknowledge that. And finally, keep an eternal perspective. This pain is temporary. Paul said, "For our light affliction, which is but for a moment, is preparing for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory." He called it light and momentary, not because it was easy, but because compared to eternal glory, any temporal suffering pales into insignificance. Your eyes need to see beyond the present, beyond this life, beyond this temporary reality. One day every tear will be wiped away, all pain will cease, all mourning will end, and you will understand perfectly why everything happened the way it did. Until then, trust, persevere, endure, because I am with you, always have been, always will be. If this word empowered you to live in a new way even with the pain, give it a thumbs up, and write in the comments the word I place in your heart right now: I live. Declare it, because you're not just surviving, you're living. And share it with those who have given up on life because the pain hasn't gone away. Be a messenger of life today. You've made it this far. It wasn't easy, I know. Every word of this message touched deep places in your soul. Places you had buried, pain you had tried to forget, wounds you pretended no longer existed. But today something changed. You didn't leave this message the same way you entered, because my word doesn't return empty. It always fulfills the purpose for which it was sent. And today's purpose was to show you that pain isn't the end of the story. It's part of the journey. It's not punishment. It's a process. It's not abandonment. It's molding. You're not being destroyed. You're being rebuilt. You're not being forgotten. You're being prepared. And everything, absolutely everything you've been through and continue to go through, has eternal meaning that will yet be fully revealed. I promise you today, this pain will not be wasted. Every tear has been collected. Every cry has been heard. Every sleepless night has been witnessed. Nothing has escaped my attention, and everything, absolutely everything, will be transformed into testimony, ministry, blessing, and glory. What the enemy planned to destroy you, I am already turning to promote you. What should kill you will strengthen you. What should isolate you will connect you with multitudes who need to hear your story. Your pain has purpose. Your struggle has meaning. Your endurance has reward. And I, who began a good work in you, am faithful to complete it until the day of Christ Jesus. This is not cheap motivation. It is a divine promise. It is an eternal covenant. It is a prophetic word over your life. Now I need you to do something very important. This is not the end. It's just the beginning of a journey we're on together. There's so much more I want to reveal to you. Many other truths that will set you free. Many other dimensions of my voice that you need to hear. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, do it now. Don't put it off. Because each video here is a specific word for a specific moment in your journey, and you can't miss any of them. Explore the full playlist, watch previous messages. Let my voice become part of your daily routine. Because a relationship with me isn't built in isolated moments. It's built on consistency, on daily pursuit, on continuous hunger. And there's one more thing. Did you notice how deeply this message touched your heart? How it spoke exactly what you needed to hear? Imagine how many others around you are desperate for this same word. They're drowning in pain and need to hear that pain has purpose. They're on the verge of giving up and need to hear that it's worth holding on. They're alone in the valley and need to know they're not abandoned. You can be the instrument I use to reach these lives. Share this video now, don't keep it to yourself. Send it to that friend who's struggling, to that family member who's suffering, to that colleague who's lost hope. Sometimes a person just needs the right word at the right time to decide to keep living, and you can be the bearer of that word today. And now, the most important moment of this entire message. I want you to go to the comments and write something powerful, something that will seal everything you received today, something that will publicly declare your faith, your commitment, your decision to trust me no matter what comes. Write with all your heart, with all your conviction, with all your strength. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Don't just read it, write it, because there is power in public declaration. There is authority in the confession of faith. There is spiritual liberation in bold testimony. When you write these words, you are not just commenting. You are prophesying over your own life. You are decreeing eternal truth about your temporal situation. You are activating supernatural strength to face everything that still lies ahead. I see you. I know you. I love you. And I will never, ever, under any circumstances, abandon you. You are not alone on this journey. You never have been. I have walked beside you every step of the way, holding you through every stumble, sustaining you through every fall. And I will continue to do so until you cross the finish line and hear from me personally. Well done, good and faithful servant. Your pain has an expiration date. Your victory is eternal. Keep going, endure, persevere, because the best is yet to come. And when all is revealed, you will look back on all these difficult days and say with tears of gratitude, it was worth every second, it was worth every tear, it was worth every struggle, because it brought me here. It made me who I am, and it prepared me to live the purpose for which I was created. Until the next message, I love you, and that will never change.